Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome back to Ratnamala Nectar Verses series. Today we will learn a shloka from Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter. The title of this chapter is Bhakti Yoga, where in this chapter Krishna describes the greatness of Bhakti and also different ways in which one can connect with Krishna through Bhakti, of course. So Bhakti can be done with mind, with intelligence and with senses. Krishna speaks about all of that. And finally, at the end of this chapter, in the last about 8 slokas, Krishna also talks about qualities that endear a devotee to Krishna. What are the qualities that we need to cultivate to become dear to Krishna? So that's the theme of these several slokas, series of slokas. In that series, we take one shloka today. And in this shloka, we will try to understand what are the qualities that make one dear to Krishna, and also what are the qualities that we exhibit. We have to exhibit or demonstrate in our dealings with other devotees, friends. So when we have these qualities, we'll become dear to Krishna, and we will also become dear to the devotees of Krishna. So these qualities will help us cultivate good friendships and relationships with other people around us. So let's recite this. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitraha karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukhakshami. Is first line, Krishiva. Adveshta sarva bhutanam.
Advaita sarva bhutala, Advaita sarva bhutala, Advaita sarva bhutala, Advaita sarva bhutala, Advaita sarva bhutala.
Thank you. Riyansh, second line. Maitraha karuna evacha.
Maitra karuna evacha, Maitra karuna evacha, Maitra karuna evacha. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you. Padmaja Mataji, third line. Nirmamo nirahankaraha.
Nirmamo nirahankaraha. Nirmamo nirahankaraha. Nirmamo nirahankaraha.
Okay, thank you. Ranindra Prabhu. Samadukha sukha kshami.
Samadukha sukha kshami. Samadukha sukha kshami. Samadukha sukha kshami.
Okay, thank you. Full shloka. Divya Krishna. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitraha karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukha kshami. Yes.
Yes, Ravi. Adveshta sarva bhutana maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukha kshami. Thank you, Ravi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Krishna Priya. Okay, Uma Mataji.
Prabhuji, धन्यवाद प्रणाम. Adveshta sarva bhutana maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankara samadukha sukha kshami. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, धन्यवाद प्रणाम.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. अद्वेष्ट सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःख सुखक्षमी। हरे कृष्ण
हरे
प्रभु जी,
कृष्ण
धन्यवाद।
प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। अद्वेष्ट सर्वभूतानां मैत्र करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहंकारः समदुःख सुखक्षमी। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। अद्वेष्ट सर्वभूतानां मैत्र करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहंकारः समदुःख सुखक्षमी। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Next.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। अद्वैष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःख सुखक्षमी। हरे कृष्ण।
Next.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःख सुखक्षमी। हरे कृष्ण।
Next.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Yes.
अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहंकारः समदुःख सुखक्षमी।
Okay.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Next.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। अद्वेष्ट सर्वभूतानां मैत्र करुणा एव च निर्ममो निरहंकार समदुःख सुखक्षमी। दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्र करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहंकारः समदुःख सुखक्षमी।
Okay,
हरे
thank you.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी। अद्वेष्ट सर्वभूतानां मैत्र करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहंकारः समदुःख सुखक्षमी। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you. Many other devotees are there. We will recite at the end. Let's discuss the meaning. So, in this shloka, Krishna talks about the importance of non-envy. Adveshta. Dvesha means envy. Adveshta means one who does not have any envy. Adveshta sarva bhutanam. There should not be any envy towards any living being. When you say sarva bhutanam, all living beings who are children of God. So a human being may think that I should not hate other human beings. But the principle that Krishna is teaching us is don't hate any living being. Not that you treat other human beings nicely or you treat people of your family nicely, people of your locality nicely, people of your state nicely, and you start mistreating other people or other living beings. So when Krishna is saying Adveshta, don't envy anyone, that includes people of all countries, all genders, all backgrounds, and all species also. Okay, we should not hate dogs. We should not hate elephants. We should not hate tigers. We must stay away from tiger, because if we go and hug a tiger, tiger will just eat us. So we must stay away from tiger. Stay away from lion, but don't hate tiger. Don't hate lion. Okay, so don't have any hatred or negativity or envy towards any living being, because after all, every single living being is a child of God. So the living being, the soul, may be in a body through which you may not have an interaction with that living being. But the child, the soul within the body is a part and parcel of Krishna. Mamaivamsho jivaloke. Therefore, don't have hatred towards anyone. And even if they hate you, you don't hate them. If they hate you, if they harm you, you take necessary action, okay, to teach them a lesson. But at heart, don't have any envy. That's why Krishna is giving a categorical statement here. There is nothing ambiguous here. Adveshta sarva bhutanam. Sarva bhuta means every single living being. No one is an exception. Right? Yudhishthira Maharaj did not hate Duryodhan, Dushasan, Karna, Sekuni, who all have troubled the Pandavas in various ways. Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas did the needful to punish them, okay, under the personal guidance of Lord Krishna. But they never held hatred towards them. Prahalad was always non-cooperative with Hiranyakashipu, Shanda, Amarka, his own father, his own teachers were troubling him a lot. Hiranyakashipu tried to kill Prahalad a lot. But Prahalad never hated Hiranyakashipu. Okay, he was always respectful, but he never cooperated with him. He disagreed, but he never disrespected. He disagreed with the philosophy of Hiranyakashipu. So, Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam, first quality. So, in our interactions with other people, sometimes they may not align with our values or our opinions or our interests or desires. So, that should not be a reason for us to hate them. As we have discussed in one of our previous sessions also, I'm not sure whether we have taken that sloka in Ratnamala so far. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, Narada Muni gives an advice to little 5-year-old child, Dhruva. He says that Gunadhikan mudam lupset anukrosham gunadhamat maitrim samanat anvichain natapair abhibhuyate. When you meet a person who is more qualified than you, when you meet a person who is superior to you in some way, either in age or experience or beauty or intelligence or resources, whatever it may be, if they are better than you in some way, we should not hate them. We should not envy them. Generally, the tendency of an average person is, if someone is doing better than me, I envy that person. I feel jealousy, right? So that jealousy should not be there. Then what should be there? You should feel happy. Oh, this person knows more than me. I can learn from this person. This person is greater than me in some way. Okay, let me take that person's guidance. So this is how we should rejoice, and you should be happy to meet a person who is greater than us. We should not feel envious. Okay. So Adveshta Sarva Bhutana. And when you meet a person who is equal like you, equal in age, equal in experience, equal in wealth, equal in talent, somehow or the other, they're equal like you. So when we meet a person who is equal to us, the tendency is to compete with them. How can he be equal to me? I should suppress. I should put him down. I should go one step ahead. So when we see equals, we should not compete with them. We should not do spardha. We should be friendly with them. Okay. So that's why Krishna says in the next point, Maitraha Karuna Evacha. Maitri means friendship. Have friendly dealings with all living beings. The next quality is Karuna. So we are counting qualities, right? So let me just take this pen. So first is Adveshta, means don't envy anyone. Second is Maitraha, have friendship. Third is Karuna. Karuna means be kind, be compassionate, be merciful, be affectionate. Karuna means to be kind. So Krishna is teaching us 3 qualities. Don't envy people, and have friendship with people, and show compassion on people. When you meet a person who is greater than you, don't envy them. Okay? Respect them. Learn from them. When you meet a person who is equally qualified like you, don't compete with them. Don't try to oppress or suppress them. You please be friendly with them and make friendship with them. And third category, juniors. Okay? Those who are little less qualified than us. They're younger than us, or they are not so talented like us. They're not so intelligent like us. They're not very experienced like us. So when we see such people, we should not oppress them or suppress them. We should encourage them. We should be kind towards them. We should be very compassionate and supportive to them. We should not dominate them or have a sense of superiority complex over them. Clear? 3 categories of people whom we meet and 3 types of dealings with them. The 3 categories of people whom we meet are seniors, juniors, equals, in short. Okay? People who are better than us, people who are equal to us, people who are less qualified than us in some way. Okay? So 3 categories. So with these 3 categories, we should have these kind of 3 dealings. What are they? Don't envy them. Be happy. Rejoice. And befriend them. Don't compete with them. And don't oppress them. Please show some kindness upon them. So now these 3, Adveshta, Maitri, Karuna, can be applied in all dealings with everyone. But to be more specific, so this is for seniors, this is for equals, and this is for juniors. Okay, you cannot show compassion on a person who is more qualified than you. Okay, they're already so great. I will show compassion upon them. I will bless them. It may not happen. So okay, so but we should be kind to them, affectionate to them. But when you take the meaning of the karuna as compassion, then that is more applicable to younger people than older people. Okay. So, like overall, when our dealings are non-envious, friendly, and kind, we can have very good friendships with other people. Okay. So when our dealings are non-envious, non-judgmental, okay, then and very kind, affectionate, friendly, then we'll not have any issues in relationships. Hopefully. Of course, you may be dealing with them in a right manner. They may not reciprocate in a right manner. Then there could be a conflict. Okay. But others' response is not in our hands, isn't it? How we deal with others is in our hands. How they deal with us is not oftentimes in our hands. It may be there in our hands to some degree, but not completely. Right? They are individual beings. So even if others are not behaving properly, we should stick to our values. We should stick to the teachings that Krishna has given us. Krishna is expecting these qualities from his devotees. You be Adveshta, you be Maitraha, you show Karuna. This is what Krishna expects from us. You want to please Krishna or you want to impress people of this material world? So if you want to please Krishna, if you want to become dear to Krishna, we should cultivate these qualities. If others are not cultivating, we may try to encourage them, inspire them, but it's not so much in our hands many times. So we should set the right example. Okay. So this is how we should deal. Now let's go to the second half of the shloka. We discussed 3 qualities in the first half: Adveshta, Maitri, and Karuna. Then fourth quality is Nirmama. Mama means mine. Okay. This is mine. This belongs to me. I am the owner. I am the proprietor. I am the master. I am the enjoyer. We think like that. Last week also, if you remember, I discussed this point. How Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. Anyone remembers the shloka? Last week's shloka? Yes. What's the shloka?
Muktara Vyakya Tapasa Sarva Loka Maheshwara Vida Sarva Bhutala Kyato Vakyanti Vrichyati.
Okay, thank you. Yashoda, what's the meaning of the first line of that shloka?
He is the enjoyer of all the sacrifices and
all the sacrifices and all austerities or whatever activities we do, Krishna is the enjoyer. We are not the enjoyers, right? He's the bhokta. He's the supreme enjoyer. And next line says, like Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the supreme proprietor of all planets. Means all the planets belong to him. The results of all our activities belong to Krishna, isn't it? Then how can we be possessive? How can we consider ourselves the owners and enjoyers? So that's what Krishna is saying here. Nirmama. Mama means it's mine. It belongs to me. Nirmama means not having that sense of possessiveness, right? Not thinking oneself to be the proprietor of everything. Krishna is the supreme proprietor. Nirmama. Mama means it belongs to me. Nirmama means having a sense, having a conception that it doesn't belong to me. Everything belongs to God, doesn't belong to me. The Supreme Lord has kept something under my care. So as long as it is in my care, I take care of it. Okay. But this doesn't belong to me. Somebody may be the owner of a land, but how long can that person be the owner of that property, that land? As long as the person is within the body. And the person cannot live within the body forever. When the person changes the body, when the person dies, he can no longer claim proprietorship over the property, over the land that he has. Okay, he may have a big estate, but he is not the owner anymore. Ultimately, everything belongs to Krishna. For some amount of time, some people are designated as caretakers of some property of Krishna. So one should take care of that nicely. But one should not think oneself to be the enjoyer or proprietor. Nirmama, that kind of attitude of non-possessiveness, not having a sense of proprietorship over things, that is very much required to become dear to Krishna and to become dear to others also. When we are too possessive, when we are too much in enjoyer mood, proprietor mood, like there is an automatic sense of selfishness that comes into us. This is mine. And that selfishness, that possessiveness, that proprietorship mentality that comes into our dealings with others. When others are even glancing on that, okay, say I like this pen, and then someone glances on, hey, mine, this is mine. Okay, don't look at this. Okay, so when you are too possessive about so-called your own things, then we cannot have a proper exchange with others. We cannot have a relationship with others. We cannot have friendship with others, because people think that, okay, this person is not in a mood to share anything. He always thinks that it is mine. This is meant for my enjoyment. So when you want friendship, you should have a intention or inclination to share things. Okay, not be overly possessive about things. Okay, so when you say nirmama, so don't think you are the proprietor. Don't think you are the boss. Don't think you all these things belong to you or you are the possessor. So nirmama. Fifth quality is nirahankara. Ahankara means ego. One should not have false ego in connecting with others. What is ego, basically? Anyone knows what is ego? Here, definition of ego. Yes, Karthik. What do you mean by ego?
Ego means the position of the living being, and false ego is the false position that he claims, whether I am the body, I am an American, Indian, Chinese, Japanese. Like that.
Yes, correct. You are right. Ego is basically a sense of identity. When our real identity is as a spirit soul and as a servant of Krishna, that's our real identity. False identity, as Karthik said, false identity is identifying oneself as the body, as the proprietor of something, as the enjoyer, as the master. Basically, these are all artificially assumed designations or identities. And they are very temporary identities. Our permanent identity is a child of God and a servant of God, a lover of God. That's the real identity on a spiritual platform. On the material platform, there may be so many identities according to our roles and responsibilities. Yes, we need to fulfill them. Right? We cannot say that I am not a teacher. It's not my identity. It's not my eternal identity. So I will not teach. No, as long as you are in that identity, fulfill that responsibilities. But please understand, it's a temporary identity. We are servants. So that's the permanent identity. So ahankara means to have false ego. Wrong identity, identification with the body. And that identity will induce a sense of superiority complex or inferiority complex in us. When I identify myself as greater than people, there is a sense of superiority complex, pride. You try to subdue people. All that egoistic tendencies will come in our dealings. We cannot be cooperative with others. We cannot respect others when we have ego. When we think we are better than them, then we look down upon them. Or sometimes the false ego can take another form, a sense of inferiority complex. Oh, they are greater than us. I'm so fallen. I'm coming from such a poor background, so they are better than me. So people overly identify with their disqualifications or shortcomings. That's another false ego. Some people identify overly with their good qualifications, material qualifications, and they suppress people and look down upon people. Some people have another sense of false ego where they identify with their material shortcomings or drawbacks, and they develop a sense of inferiority complex. This inferiority complex, superiority complex, both are products of false ego only. Okay, so we should not have both. Basically, we are servants of Krishna. That identity is the real identity, nirahankara. Then sixth quality, sama, means equanimity. Sukha, dukkha, means happiness and distress. Happiness comes and distress comes, we should be equipoised, we should tolerate them. What is that shloka in Gita that emphasizes on tolerating happiness and distress? Anyone so far? Tolerating happiness and distress. Yes, Divya Krishna, you know?
Yes, Ravi. Matra Patsakante, Shito Nasuka Dukkada, Agamapai Noneta, Sanshirikta Savarata.
Okay, so we should be able to tolerate happiness and distress, and one who has the titiksha, tolerance, is eligible for liberation. Okay, any other shloka that says that this kind of ability to tolerate and see happiness and distress equally is eligible for liberation. What is that shloka? Right, next. Yes, you know, Kushiva. Okay.
Titiksha, Karlika.
No, not this. Yeah. Bhagavad Gita shloka. Anything else? Yashoda, you raise your hand. Okay, again, Divi Krishna. Back to Divi Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Dukhyasana Jagna Mana Sukhya Shavika Taspriha. No.
There is liberation here. Okay, 2.14 you quoted sometime back, right? Right after that, there is another shloka. Samadukha sukham dhiram so amrutatvaya kalpate. Yam hi navyathayantyete purusham purusharshabha. Samadukha sukham dhiram so amrutatvaya kalpate. You remember? One who is able to maintain equanimity in happiness and distress means sama dukkha sukham dhiram. He is a dhira and so amritatvaya kalpate. Mritatva means to be subjected to death. Amritatva means liberation. So one who can tolerate happiness and distress on a material plane is eligible to go to spiritual plane. If you are so overwhelmed with happiness and distress on a material plane, how are you qualified to enter spiritual realm? To get into liberation, liberated state or entering spiritual state means to be equipoised, to not get so much affected with happiness and distress on a material plane. You may deal with them, but don't get overly affected with them. When there is happiness, rejoice. But don't be so over-elated. When there is distress, deal with it in a right manner. Don't get so much affected. So when we are equipoised in happiness and distress, then we are eligible for liberation. Krishna is repeating the same teaching. Samadukha sukham. Now, like many children have quoted other shlokas, they are also on the same theme. Similar theme of Samadukha sukham dhiram. So that is the sixth quality, equanimity. And kshami, seventh quality is, kshami means forgiveness. So when we don't have forgiveness, then it's very difficult to become dear to the Lord. Even if we take an action on a person who has committed something wrong, still at heart we forgive. Forgiveness does not mean we don't punish the person who has behaved inappropriately. Even if there is punishment, internally there is kindness, there is forgiveness. Okay, so the person, a Vaishnava, is one who forgives before the offense is even committed. They don't take offense only. Okay. So there is another shloka in the 9th canto of Bhagavatam that emphasizes on the quality of forgiveness. Okay, so this shloka was spoken by Jamadagni to his son Parashuram. Parashuram went and killed Kartaviryarjun. And Jamadagni says that Kshamaya rochate Lakshmir Brahmi Shauri Yatha Prabha Kshibinam Asu Bhagavam Stushyate Haririshvaraha. By cultivating this quality of forgiveness, we satisfy the Lord. Another quality. So when you have forgiveness in your dealings with others, when you are able to tolerate their minor offenses, and even if you take an action against their major offenses, still you have the ability to forgive them from within. So then we will become dear to the Lord, and we will also become dear to others. When we have the quality of forgiveness, we will also have good friendships. Small things we should be able to tolerate. If we take too much things too much into heart and become overly affected by small inconveniences that others might cause us, then we may not retain relationships so much. If you are overly sensitive, if you are overly affected by small things, if something is big, yes, of course, we have to do the needful. We have to take some action. But small things we should be able to forgive and forget. So these are the 7 qualities that Krishna speaks in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And cultivating these 7 qualities will make us dear to Krishna, will also help us cultivate good friendships and relationships with other people in this world. Okay. So with this I'll conclude. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, many more recitations, those who haven't recited before. Vishnu Priya Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna eva cha nirmamo nirahankara निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमी.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Yashoda.
अद्वेष्ट सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुणवेम च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमी. हरे
Thank
कृष्ण.
you. Hasini.
अद्वैष्ट्वा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रेयः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमी.
Thank you. Parshuram Prabhu. Are you there, Parshuram?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna eva cha nirmamo nirahankarah samadukha sukhachami.
Thank you. Jai Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी अद्वेष्ट सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमी.
Thank you. Vrinda Mataji.
प्रभु जी हरे कृष्ण दंडवत प्रणाम अद्वैस्त सर्वभूतानां मैत्रेय करुणा एव च निर्ममा निरंकारा समदुःख सुख शमी. थैंक यू प्रभु जी.
Next.
हरे कृष्ण धन्यवाद प्रणाम प्रभु जी अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमी. थैंक यू.
Sudarshan.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत अद्वेष्ट सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निर्महङ्कारः